Good morning. The hymn I bring to you today is not one that I have heard about. I don't even think I've ever sung this hymn. It's called Ivory Palaces, and but it's a beautiful, beautiful hymn. So I'm going to have that video for you with actual singers singing it in a little bit. But I just want to tell you a little background about this hymn. It was written. Uh, both the words, the lyrics, and the tune was written by a young man by Henry Barraclough, and it comes from actually Psalm 45:8. And Psalm 45:8 says, "All thy garments smell of myrrh and aloes out of the ivory palaces." So this young man wrote this. He was born in England, Yorkshire, England, in 1891. And he first made his living as a claims adjuster for an insurance company in Bradford, and then worked for a member of Parliament. But in 1914, he joined an evangelistic team of the Presbyterian evangelist J. Wilbur Chapman and his song director, Charles M. Alexander, who were at that time on a preaching mission from the United States in England. When this team, Alexander and Chapman, returned to the USA, Barraclough returned with them. In 1915, Chapman, who was also a hymn writer and one of his best known hymns is One Day, preached a sermon actually on Psalm 45:8 in an evening service at a conference in North Carolina, in which he applied the symbolism of the perfumed garments of Christ. Well, later that evening, they were heading to a YMCA hostel, and the 24-year-old Barraclough thought about the message and the phrases and began to have them all take shape in his mind. And while they were stopped at a little village store, he penned his thoughts on the only paper that was available to him at the time, the back of a visitor's card, which he had in his pocket. Upon returning to his room at the conference hotel, he worked out the first 3 stanzas using the outline of Chapman's message and the music. He is credited with 20 hymn texts and 120 hymn tunes, and he died in Philadelphia in August of 1983. The song reminds us of the sacrifice that Christ made for us. The first stanza tells us that Christ left his glorious garments of heaven for us. The second stanza tells us that Christ experienced sorrow on the cross for us. Of course, we know that aloes were used in the burial as well as myrrh for those of ancient times. Stanza 3 tells us that Christ is our healer. And the final stanza tells us that Christ will come for us again. So, read Psalm 45, and as you read it, think of these words that were written in this wonderful hymn of the early 1900s, and listen now just to a little bit of it. Have a good day. Bye-bye.